Oh, there it is.
Yeah, DJ, despite the fact that you went 1-5 against the spread
Don't worry
last
about it.
week, and I went 3-0. Even with that being said, I'm going to start this out by asking you for advice. And maybe you went through this before. I don't know because your son is like 5, 6 years old by now.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an avid diehard football fan and Halloween falls on a Sunday and your kid has a bedtime and you need to get that kid out trick-or-treating because it can't go by itself, like you need to go with, how do you handle this situation? Because I just want to sit here and watch football all day and I'm getting pressured into having to go out trick-or-treating. Doesn't sound ideal. How do you handle this?
Oh shit! I don't know if I ever had this happen to me. Now that I think about it, you fucking cry. You just cry. I got nothing.
That's all you got for me?
Yeah.
I was at least hoping that you would say like just drink a lot of beers, maybe DVR the game. I don't know. You're anti DVR though, so maybe just drink,
Nope. Just cry.
cry and drink. Well, let's get loaded because this is the Loaded Box Podcast.
Where we never finish first, so we finish last.
Hold on. Did you just fake crack a beer because you're still hungover at damn near 8:00 on a Wednesday?
I'm just taking a break from drinking after last night.
That sounds like you're too hungover. Unbelievable. You said you just got done taking a nap too.
I'm fine. I feel great. I feel magnificent. But I just was like, yesterday, I slept in a little bit today. And I was like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. So I took a little break.
Unbelievable. I'm going back to my strategy here on Sunday with the Dolphins playing the Bills. There's a good chance that game's out of hand within the first 4 or 5 minutes. So there's a good chance that I'm going to be cool with just like pausing it, doing my trick-or-treating dad duties, and then just coming back and watching after they're already down 35-3.
Can't you just stay at home with the baby and make your wife take the other one out?
Baby's got a costume as well. So
the baby doesn't want to go anywhere.
No, neither does daddy.
Yeah, so, exactly.
I don't know. It's going to be a risky
volunteer to stay home and hand out candy.
Dude, you know where I live. Ain't nobody coming to my house for fucking candy.
Even better than that.
You're right. I wouldn't have to run back upstairs with the doorbell rings.
Go anywhere.
Well, welcome back to the Loaded Box Podcast. I'm Ben. That's DJ. This is NFL Week 8. As always, we're doing our best against the spread picks for the week. DJ's flaunting his "I Still Own You" t-shirt, and obviously, as a Packers fan, you guys know what that means. I'm rolling with. I don't even want to try to pronounce it here, but it's my Tua shirt. My theory here is, Jesus, with that trade deadline approaching, if something pops off, I need to wear it at least once while he's still a Dolphin. But I'm gonna play. Like, you know how you used to wear your Barstool shirt every day? Like, you'd sleep in it, you'd wake up, like, you'd have it as your undershirt, you'd go back to bed in it. It was like a kid with his football, like, the first time you just sleep with it all the time. That's how I'm going to treat this shirt moving forward. Just always wearing it.
This is from Barstool, too. I saw this and immediately went out and purchased it, like, 5 minutes after the fact of that "I Still Own You" thing. That's the first time I've ever been gotten like that, but I had to.
Yeah,
there was no.
Had to.
It was just like, I'm buying it. It's mine.
Take my money. I don't care. You didn't even look at what it cost.
Nope. Checked out immediately.
You're probably on a payment plan and don't even know it.
Yep.
I alluded to it earlier, dude. I went 3-0 last week. Perfecto, plus 0.6 units. You had a fucking one to forget. You went 1-5, minus 1.9. For the year, though, we are both still positive. I'm plus 1.5 units. You are plus 1.8 units. DJ, you thinking bounce back this week? What do you got in store for us here? It seems like you're taming down. You're taking my strategy. Maybe a couple less games.
It just wasn't a lot that I liked this week. It was a little trickier. So, I mean, I still have 5 games on there, don't I?
You do, but it's usually like 7 or 8. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just. This was a tough week. Really tough week. But you know what? The Packers keep winning. So if you just keep betting the Packers, boom. But I also hit the Falcons in real life because the spread moved to 1.5.
Line change.
They obviously got their heart broken. As I told you, I texted you and said, I hope you're not getting excited because you're about to get your heart broken. I'm sure
we should almost make like an asterisk on some of those because like line movement sometimes helps us, but it'd be tricky because it could go the other way too.
It helped me and I won, but I was 1 game away from my money line parlay hitting, I think.
Unreal.
Yeah, 1 game. It was the last one.
That sucks.
But I did hit. Was it who scored the first touchdown? Oh, DK Metcalf. I
Oh,
hit
the
that
Seahawks
$30.
game?
Yeah, I
That's
hit that first
nice.
touchdown. It's funny. I accidentally clicked on it and I assumed it was just like karma, like I had to do it, so I just went
Yeah.
with DK.
I've done that.
That
It's
was
not
nice.
worked for me in the past. So it had to work
Yeah.
for somebody. DJ, your bet every week, like your guaranteed go-to is always the Packers. I really thought you'd pivot this week. Why are you
No.
not pivoting? What happened there?
Are we talking about it? Packers plus 6.5 at Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's some rumors that Devontae may have had a negative test, so he may play. So if you could get that in right now, just in case. It sounds like MVS traveled with the team today.
Yep.
So I think he will be playing. It sounds like he might give it a go with the hamstring injury. I was wondering why Alan Lazard was on it. I forgot the whole vaccinated, unvaccinated thing. He's unvaccinated, and he was a close contact.
Yeah.
All the rest of them must be vaccinated, like Rodgers and all the rest of the wide receivers. But Rodgers he's 6-0 without Devontae Adams.
Yeah, that's surprising to me, but because he peppers him so much with targets, but his record and his stats are legit.
And he's 10-0 in prime time.
Holy shit.
Or 9-1 or something. I think it was 9-1 against the spread, 10-0 in prime time. Like he just doesn't lose in prime time, and now he doesn't have Devontae. He's 6-0 without Devontae. I think he just spreads the ball out more evenly. He just turns into Magic Man. So yeah, absolutely, I'm going to take the Packers 6.5. Shit, I'm probably going to bet money line getting that kind of spread.
What about so Arizona is kind of different than the teams they've been playing. Arizona really spreads it out, dual threat quarterback, just peppers everyone. Like everyone's getting targets on that team. It's Hop, it's Kirk. It depends on the week. Shit, last week Zach Ertz had a long touchdown. Now you don't have Jair Alexander back, right?
Nope, he's still on the IR.
Terry McLaurin had a very nice week last week. The Washington football team last week, what they do go 0-4 in the red zone with just turnovers and just stupid penalties.
That might be the worst game the Packers have played this game.
And they still won by like 14.
That's just because they got screwed by a call. The Washington football team, like really bad. I actually felt bad. Like it should have been a really close game,
right?
Because the refs were legitimately screwing over Washington. Like that dive into the end zone, like said he was giving himself up.
I hate that rule,
That's
man.
Maybe the most ridiculous. If I was a Washington football club fan, I would have been losing my mind. I just laughed, and then they fumble and get stopped on the next play.
So yeah, that's when you're you're not meant to win that week. And I get the idea of giving it up, but where he was. He could have taken the hit, but all he was doing was shielding himself from a hit while protecting the ball.
Yeah. Kyler doesn't worry me that much. I just don't know why, but he doesn't. I'm not afraid of him. If we stay disciplined and don't get out of lanes on defense, we'll be fine. He's going to give us some opportunities to make him fumble or throw a couple interception balls up there. I think they're going to have some troubles. Obviously, they have DeAndre Hopkins and AJ Green, and that's going to be a problem because we really only have Stokes. Rashawn Gary's been playing well. That defensive line's been playing well, but the good thing is they're not a great running football team. But I don't know. I bet the Packers every week, and they keep winning.
Give me quick fantasy advice. I got to pick between using Kirk right away on Thursday, or I can wait for Jerry Jeudy. What am I doing?
It's so hard to use any Cardinals wide receiver that's outside of AJ Green. Because you don't know who's going to get it. They're trying to get Rondale Moore involved. Christian Kirk gets these random catches. Now they have Zach Ertz. DeAndre Hopkins is the one is going to have a lot of good games. But it's so deep. It's so scary to use anybody that's not like DeAndre Hopkins at that point.
Yeah, it's tough. Kirk, if you go through Kirk's game log through fantasy, he's been fine. You can get by with using him. But I'm just so it makes me nervous every damn week when I have to use him. I don't know. I'm still tough. Thanks for the advice there.
You're welcome.
Cool. Speaking of Jerry Jeudy, I got the Broncos -3 this week versus Washington, who we just talked about. I've got 0.2 units on that puppy. And I think, honestly, part of it is the fact that Washington has done nothing this year but disappoint me. They played so sloppy last week. They're going on the road again this week. And it's kind of also the fact that I'm kind of always on the Broncos side, and I love Jerry Jeudy and the fact that he's back. I think he adds an element to that offense that they've sorely missed. Did you watch that game last Thursday against Cleveland, right? The Broncos and Browns. It was real windy, but it was just
yes. I think I probably had it on my bottom TV because usually I just don't care much about games like that, so I watch them when I'm watching a show or something.
I mean, it was brutal. The offense
Mhm.
just looked anemic. They
Yeah.
need
Well,
something. And
no, I know
that's
I did because I was talking about Case Keenum.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Jerry Judy's that kind of receiver that you can hit him early. Like you, and by early, I mean like short to intermediate routes and let him create afterwards. Like you don't need to like set up and just launch him balls. They need a playmaker. They need a guy they can get the ball to. And I don't want to expect too much out of him right away. But Jesus, Washington is giving it up. Look at what their like stats are like pass wise. It's the exact opposite of what I thought was going to happen coming into the year. They're like 30th or worse in like 4 major passing categories. Best
They have
defense.
good defensive linemen though, because the Packers finally had a front where they just couldn't figure out how to stop 4 guys rushing, and we were struggling to move the ball in the second half at all. It was tough.
Washington's a little banged up too. Like Gibson got out snapped last week by McKissick.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Terry McLaurin's banged up again.
Yep.
Diami Brown left for that game. I asked you what happened to him. He left that game against Green Bay. They don't really have anyone else you fear, honestly. I think maybe Logan Thomas is back this week, but
so you're not scared at all.
Yeah, you're really not. So, and there's something, this is just one of those things too that just plays in my head. Like going to Denver is kind of sneaky hard. That's a stadium that, like, I don't know the stats, but I just feel like every time they're at Denver, they're either in the game or they're winning. So I think they're going to have to get a bounce back here.
It's 2 bad football teams.
It is. If I like it, keep it at 3. Get it now before it goes to 3.5. And if it goes to 3.5, buy the hook.
Though, like, I don't care about Jerry Jeudy. Teddy Bridgewater is not a good quarterback either. Like, they're just not good at football.
Remember all the hype though? It was like, oh, if you're a Jerry Jeudy owner, who do you want playing quarterback? And I was like, I don't even really know what to think of that. But all the fantasy analysts seem to think Bridgewater was the guy to make Jeudy flourish.
Yeah, and then everybody gets excited, and then he has a couple of good games, and then he always fucking falls off the radar.
Yeah, that's so true. That is his freaking MO. It's ridiculous.
Oh, breaking news.
Don't fuck this.
Brett Favre prepays money he accepted for speeches.
What a good guy.
What a great guy.
DJ, this one scares me. Historically, this doesn't work out well for us. We're on the same side of this next bet, and it is a wild bet. You talk about betting on a shitty team. You are a hypocrite because we are both taking the Lions plus 3.5 versus the Eagles. I'm lesser on it. I'm 0.2 units. You are 0.7 units. I've got a couple of theories as to why I do like the Lions in this. I'm obviously not as confident as you. So you, as the more confident one, I'm going to let you lead this one off.
When it comes down to his Lions have been really close against a lot of solid teams. Obviously, Cincinnati ran them out of the building last week, but they've been really close. I think they can finally get their first win against this bad Eagles team. Jalen Hurts is the best fantasy quarterback in the last 2 quarterbacks, or last quarter of all time. There may be no better fourth quarter quarterback when they're getting their ass kicked than Jalen Hurts, because that's when he racks up all his stats and all his yards, and people are like, oh, he's the number 6 quarterback. Well, for fucking 3 quarters, you're freaking out, and they're getting beat by so much. Again, he's not good in dynasties because he's going to be replaced.
Well, now they're even saying Gardner Minshew. They're not going to be. This is just me reading a headline. I didn't look too deep into it, but Gardner Minshew potentially getting starts at some point.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts stinks. He's bad. The Eagles stink. I really like the Lions in this game. They've been just right there, and this feels like the time they finally get over the edge. This is a team they can actually beat to get that win.
Yeah, so the one quick thing, the Lions actually played the Rams last week, and the Bengals steamrolled the Ravens. However,
the Lions played
the Rams.
Okay. I was getting it messed up. Who did?
It's all right, though. It's all right, though. I got your back. That's what I'm here for.
They played that game close, too. Never mind. I thought they got steamrolled a couple weeks ago, but
one of my takes that you didn't mention yet is what they did in that game. They pulled out all the stops. Campbell is to the point where everything's on the table. 2 fake punts, an onside kick. Dude, they're going to just go for it. They were did Goff like throw an interception towards the end of that game when they had a chance to?
And everybody's like, that's the difference between Matt Stafford and Jared Goff. Like,
that's why they traded Matt Stafford. And it is, plus probably a little bit more. But dude, they're hanging in that game, and they got an Eagles team that's just sort of reeling right now. I don't really like betting against the Eagles just because of the way they got rolled last week by the Raiders, but you don't even have to win this one. I like this at the hook. I was just going to leave this one off, but getting that hook, I actually kind of like it. The Lions are right there. For how crazy that is, as a defeated team, they're kind of right there in all the games.
They're winning. They're winning this fucking football game. The Eagles stink.
Yeah, it's crazy. Miles Sanders is week to week, so he's probably not going to be a factor in this one as well. They're already platooning running backs the way it is, and
They
we're
were finally about to give him the ball, though.
It's funny. I don't know if you even saw this yet. There was a comment on our YouTube live stream last time. Our comments are still jacked up, so apologize. But there was a YouTube one that came in that I saw later that said like something about us two being the biggest Jalen Hurts bashers in the history of the world. And I'm like, well, here we are, both betting against him again this week and telling him he's going to give me nothing.
He's bad. He's very bad at football.
It just never fails. So yeah, we're both on that one. So maybe just flock the opposite way and roll with the Eagles. I don't know, man.
Easy win.
This next one, I almost joined you on this one as well, but I kind of pushed out last second. What do you got in the Titans-Colts game?
I mean, the Titans are hot right now, and I don't think the Colts are a good football team by any means. They had a great matchup against who do they play in that shitty game? The Saints?
Which one was it?
Or no, the
Colts and 49ers game?
Niners, yeah. And those are two bad football teams going up against each other is all it was. And I tweeted it. I was like, I didn't realize how many Colts fans I follow on Twitter and how fucking annoying they are.
It's because of Zach Hicks.
Yeah, and they all were like so negative right away. Like, oh, well, we're so bad. Oh, we can't do anything. And next thing you know, they're like, oh, Michael Pittman's a beast. Oh, it's their fucking blah. And I'm like, dude, these are just two really bad football teams playing against each other. And you got the best of the other bad football team. And that's what it comes down to right now. The Titans are playing well. All of a sudden, Tannehill's back. Him and A.J. Brown are back in that rhythm where it's, run the ball, run the ball, play action to, a slant to A.J. Brown or throw it up and he'll make a weird catch like he does. And it's they're back. It seems like that offensive rhythm that they were missing the first 3-4 weeks. It's back on track. Julio was out there playing healthy. I love the Titans in this game. I can't believe they're dogs here because the Colts are a bad football team.
That's what shocked me on this one. So I did my thing where I look at the game. I kind of have a line in my head, and that's a lot of the way is how I try to bet it just based on what I think it is. Yeah, I assumed that Tennessee was going to be favored in this. So when I thought that they weren't, the first thing I'm taking your line, rat line, man, rat line. And I kind of got scared because of the simple reason of football. Like, I'm not a big believer in the Colts. They beat the 49ers, but the Titans are this hot team. They beat Buffalo. They beat Kansas City. Football says they're going to lose this week. That's the only reason. There's no theory behind it, just in the fact that weird shit happens in the NFL, and you shouldn't bet on the NFL. So, I'm like, this one looks – I like it too much. I got to run away from this thing.
I had so many takes I want to talk about, I totally forgot about. But there's, so many things I learned this last week, and I was going to talk about at the beginning. I'll start out with the Chiefs. They're just not good. Patrick Mahomes, I think, is screwing that offensive line by floating a lot. They need to run the ball more. So I've learned the Chiefs are just maybe not that good of a football team.
Do you think they should trade for Deshaun Watson?
No.
If Tua throws that pick, everyone's on his ass. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said the T word. I'm also self-conscious, and I have to keep going like this so that people don't think I'm just a racist. I mean, I'm doing a podcast with a half-black guy, so I can't be racist.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah.
I learned that the Bengals are absolutely a fucking wagon. They are actually really good. Joe Burrow. I wanted to talk about this. It makes Tua look even worse. People already are naysayers, but now you got Joe Burrow. Obviously, looks like one of the top 7 quarterbacks in the NFL. The way he's playing, he's really good. There's no other way about it. Him and Jamar Chase, who duped everybody, just duped everybody in the offseason.
He's got the most receiving yards in 7 weeks in NFL history.
Yeah, they just smashed the Ravens last week.
Yep.
And I was really wrong about the Buccaneers-Bears game.
Dude, the first time I looked up, they were winning 28-0. I'm like, it must be the fourth quarter. It was the second quarter.
Just don't forget, the Packers beat the Bengals, and it makes me feel better about that win. Those are my takes. Transitive property. Those are my things that I learned this week.
My next one here, DJ. I don't do this often. I don't do a lot of over-under plays, but I couldn't not bet this one. I got the Steelers-Browns under 42.5. Watch your mouth.
I couldn't not, he says. Double negatives all over the place.
There I am. I learned from the best. I'm not going crazy on this one. I'm doing my bare minimum 0.1 unit, but I like it enough where I just got to get a little bit of action on it. So that's my advice here. Steelers-Browns. I like both defenses. And with how banged up right now Cleveland is, like it sounds like they're going to get Nick Chubb back, but Baker is far from 100%. We have no idea what's going to end up happening with him. But even if he plays, Steelers still have a good defense. So I'm not super worried on the Browns. You know they like possessing the ball. What's happening, DJ? Why are you laughing so hard?
Oh God! I watched the video today, and then somebody talked about it. I was wondering if I just can't stop laughing at thinking about the video. I'll tell you about it once I'll ask you if you saw it.
I'd like to know now.
Did you see the video with the beginning of the Knicks season? There's like a guy getting interviewed, and he goes, "We had De Blasio, we had Cuomo. It was rough shit." Oh, it was fucking great.
So, as a guy that doesn't stay up to date on current events, I only partially understand what the hell that just happened.
I gotta send you the video if you haven't seen it. It's the like pre-Knicks game. The Knicks are good, but it's just like an interview. You know, it's like the news anchor interviews a bunch of Knicks fans. Right. We had De Blasio, we had Cuomo. It was rough shit. He's all excited about the Knicks game. I've watched it like 10 times.
Hell of a story.
Yeah, Steelers. I think the people that have watched it are gonna laugh with me, but you've got to watch it.
Also, those who understand it, like I told you this before, DJ. I'm to the point in life where I only focus on like very few things, just because I just want to focus on a couple of things and just be good at those things. I don't know what Bellagio is. I thought that was a place in Las Vegas.
Bellagio.
The Bellagio.
De Blasio.
Don't know what that means.
They're the worst.
Anyway. What I'm saying here is I think both these teams want to control the clock. I don't think either of them are going to be out there just chucking the ball everywhere. I think this is going to be just a defensive battle. I don't see many points in this one. 42.5 is so low. That's the only reason why I'm like a little bit hesitant on it. But I see this game being like your classic Steelers game. It's almost like they used to be like the Steelers and Ravens, where it's like 17-13, and that's considered a lot of points in those games. You are completely just messing with me because you think this is so funny, and I don't even understand it.
De Blasio is the mayor of New York City, and Cuomo is obviously the governor of New York, or was. Sorry, he had to step down because he's an Italian pervert or some shit like that. But yeah, I wish you knew things.
I don't know things. That's why you just only talk about the things I know. I know about NFL perverts. I know about Deshaun Watson. Those are the perverts I know.
He's got to be your quarterback. Big Dick Deshaun. Can't wait for that.
Not Big Dick. Move my dick.
I know, but I like Big Dick Deshaun.
Yeah,
I imagine he has just a fucking...
Yeah. If it's in the way, just move it. Hey, if he becomes a quarterback, I'll replace this with a shirt that says, "If my dick's in your way, just move it."
I wish I had a dick big enough to say, "If my dick's in your way, just move it." Like, I would be proud to be able to say that, but I'd be like, "Well, it's definitely not going to be any issue."
If you said that, if we said that, I'll put myself in that category. If we said that on a massage table, we would just get laughed right out of the room. No, don't worry, it's not in the way. It won't be in the way.
No, I have an inverted penis.
All right, I've said enough about the freaking Steelers and Browns. Let's go on to your Chargers and Patriots game, because I kind of like to play in this one. Not the same one as you. I actually kind of liked the under. I think he was at like 49, but you've got a side. You're not going to make it the rest of the episode.
Yeah, I'm struggling. I'm going to have to mute myself. I got the giggles. All right. I've got the Chargers because they're coming back off the bye, and I love betting them because I love Justin Herbert and that offense, and I've got like so many pieces of them in fantasy football that I just had to bet them. Patriots coming off of beating the shit out of a really bad Jets team. All these Patriots fans think they're back. They just beat the shit out of a really bad Jets team. Zach Wilson got injured in the middle of that game. Patriots aren't good. Offensively, defensively, they're okay. They're pretty good defensively, but the Chargers' offensive line offense is just so talented, it doesn't matter. I think a lot of people are going to be on the Patriots after that last game. Give me the Chargers coming off the bye in LA. I love me some Justin Herbert. It's such a fantasy bet. Like, it's such a betting with my like heart, just because I love their fan. Plus, they're coming off of a rough game before the bye week. So I'm pretty excited about watching the Chargers again. I don't know. I'm just enjoying the Chargers this year. They might be my third favorite team after the Titans now.
That's actually what scared me off of this game, was because I liked the under, and then I'm like, God, the Chargers literally just came off a bye week, and the week before, I think they scored 3 points against the Ravens after the Ravens just gave up 40 something to the Bengals.
Yep.
Oh, I just feel like that scared me. I'm like, oh, the Chargers might have an offensive just outburst here. And I do think that 54-13, that doesn't mean you're back. That means you played the Jets. I agree with you there. The Belichick defense is still something that I think can exist. And the Patriots are that team as well, that they're just going to try to pound it out. They're going to do safe, short passes. I could see them just trying to keep Herbert off the field as much as possible in this one. And actually, if you remember, I think it was last year. It was the Herbert game. I'm pretty sure the Patriots beat him like 44-0. Granted, a lot has changed. A ton has changed since last year and since that game. So I'm not putting too much stock in that. But I think Belichick he's got the game plan to kind of expose young quarterbacks. And that's what Herbert still is, despite the success he's had. I don't think he's going to come into this game and just be able to toss it everywhere. Granted, it is at home this year. I know last year was in New England. I think it was at 49. I don't mind your play. I obviously like the Chargers more than the Patriots, but if I was going to bet on this game, I would side with the under. I know that sucks for fantasy purposes because I'm loaded with Chargers as well, but I would just lean under.
Mikey Williams. I'm so glad he's back, especially since I have Devontae on the same team as him. I need to move him in.
Word.
So that's huge.
So DJ, here's something. There's a difference between the two of us. I'm open. I'm open to learning. I'm open to education. I'm open to taking advice. And what I did here is I couldn't find a 2-team tease of the week this week. However, I was like, what would DJ do in this situation? He would do a money line parlay of the week. So guess what I did? I took a page out of your book. DJ, I've got a money line parlay of the week. What I did here, too, is I just put in 4 heavy favorites. So, you got to get them all right. The payout's not huge, but I like this bet. So, I've got do you have the schedule up?
I have the schedule, yes.
The schedule or the spreads, whatever.
Yep, I have everything. I've got it all. I've always got it up.
Okay, I've got the Bengals. I believe they play
I live my life with these up.
That's perfect. You can correct me if I'm wrong then. I've got the Bengals versus the Jets.
Yeah.
I've got the 49ers versus the Bears.
Yep.
I've got the Broncos versus Washington FC.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got the Chargers rebounding against the New York Giants. Correct?
The Chargers are playing the Patriots. We just talked about it.
Did I say the Chargers? I meant to say the Chiefs.
Oh, you said the Chargers. But then the Chiefs are against.
The CH got me.
Yep.
So I've got Bengals, 49ers, Broncos, Chiefs. Money line, you just got to win them all. It's plus 235. So like I said, you're not getting rich on this. You're not taking a huge risk though either. I like this play. And honestly, I didn't talk about this on the podcast last week, but I did a 5-teamer with heavy favorites. And then I put in the Chiefs in that one as well. And the Chiefs absolutely got steamrolled. So I hit 4 out of 5, which obviously in a parlay pays you jack shit. But I think the Chiefs bounce back in this one. It's against the Giants. The Giants are liable to give up a win to anyone. That line is like 9.5, and I don't think the Chiefs are going to be struggling this many weeks in a row. They're still the Chiefs. They still just got to win this game.
Are they? They are not still the Chiefs. They are not. You can't say that anymore. They aren't.
Can you look me in the eye right now? Can you look me in the eye right now and say that team is still not a Super Bowl contender?
Correct. Yes, they are.
Unbelievable. See, I can't even go there.
The Monsters sold their superpowers. I think this had to change until I see it switch. But right now, I'm watching that team, and they're not a playoff football team. They are not a playoff football team right now. I don't know what they have to do. They've been too cute on offense because they've gotten used to being able to be too cute, and people are staying more disciplined. And the cuteness is killing them because they are not tough. They're not a tough football team. They are so they're like a ballet out there, and they're very fragile, and now they're getting punched in the mouth, and everything that they used to do isn't working, and it's not cute anymore. They're just losing.
Some of the stuff that I was reading was about what they're doing on offense and why it's not working right now. When they're saying
their defense is so fucking bad too.
Defense is bad. Going to be hard, but man, it's still the Giants.
Plays well.
Well, the Giants are broken right now still. So that's
that's going to tell you a lot. So we'll see how close this game is.
That's true.
If it's tight,
then we have issues.
Daniel Jones has been weirdly good this year. It's kind of statistically, it's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, he still sucks, but
the stuff I was reading about the Chiefs, though, and it's like why the offense is struggling, what's going wrong. Obviously, literally like good passes that are just getting popped up in the air and being picked off. Mahomes has 3 of them. Like of his 9 interceptions, 3 of them are directly tied to wide receivers. One of them went to the house. I think the other 2 were either in the end zone or the red zone or near the red zone. So they've just been brutal timing, brutal interceptions.
You can't give Mahomes those passes. It's continually happening.
Well, here's the other thing about Mahomes. He obviously is great at extending plays and then hitting that deep ball down the field. The things that I was reading, like the insiders with the Chiefs, is he's relying on it too much right now. He's not taking that safe crossing pattern. Like he's waiting for something huge to develop. And he
doesn't stay in the pocket. Like he's afraid. He's never stayed in the pocket and he floats. I don't like that. It struggles for linemen.
He's seeing ghosts probably after that Super Bowl, after just running for his life.
They gave him more offensive line help, and he's just making it harder for them to block because when you float, it's easier for the defensive ends to get there because the offense is blocking for a pocket, and he's not staying in that pocket.
Well, that's what they're saying. They're like, if he can just simplify it a little bit and start taking some more of those like check downs and like intermediate passes versus trying to make it, then when he does that, it's going to just be more effective. And I think we're going to see that offense take the next step.
Reed needs to force him to make on-time pass plays, like slants and ins, and get the ball quicker, and then like go back to the beginning and then work their way back to that because he's gotten so comfortable just doing stupid stuff. It doesn't work.
Well, he's like the master ad-libber, and it's just not really working right now.
Aaron Rodgers did some magic shit last week, and
that was cool. I like how that play with Rodgers, he was rolling all the way right. It was about the point where like, well, you got to do something with it. Either just throw it out of bounds or throw it out of bounds. And then he threw it across his body. And not only did he just hit Adams, but he hit Adams like on over near his shoulder so that Adams could catch and turn and just run with it. Like it was funny. It wasn't just a good like decision and like getting the ball completed. It was getting the ball completed to Adams in a spot where he could do something with it.
He was in such a full sprint that when he threw it, he fell on his face. But that's not the play I'm talking about. There was one play where he like dropped back and like went left and rolled, and he was dead to rights, and he pump fake and ducked, and like you thought it was down, and he just popped up out of nowhere. He does that, Matt, that at least once a year where it's like he's just gone and then he just pops out of nowhere.
Right. No, that was pretty cool. So I took a page out of your book there. I went money line parlay of the week plus 235. Come again?
Do I have more plays on here?
You got one more, and it's another over-under for you here. It's the Cowboys Vikings. I think that's the Sunday night game.
Yeah, Sunday night. I was just like, hey, that looks fun. 55. Dallas coming in. They can score a lot of points. The Vikings can score too. I know the Cowboys defense is pretty solid, but Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Tony Pollard.
This is going to be a fantasy matchup, man. There's going to be so many fantasy points scored.
You notice how I purposely said Tony Pollard and left out Zeke there?
Zeke, I caught that.
Yeah, so I just like the points. I'm putting 0.1 unit on it, and let's just have some fucking fun. Let's get some touchdowns. That's a fantasy fun one. I wish it was a daily fantasy. We can do, but I wish it was earlier. So I can mix in some of those players in the DFS plays.
Yeah, I think you've also got Cowboys coming off of a bye. So the whole idea of like Dak, like was he really like that injured, or was wearing that boot in that press conference 2 weeks ago like a precautionary thing? Because people were just going bananas about it. Like,
the other take I forgot about was the Panthers. What's
I love how you just steamrolled me there and went into your take.
Sorry, I was doing my money line parlay and I remembered it. So. Are you there? Are you gone? Did you die?
Sorry, I had to cough. What happened?
Well, shit. I was looking at the thing, so I didn't know that you had muted yourself. But anyways, what happened to Darnold? Is he just bad at football, or what's the deal?
Here it is. Carolina had a pretty easy schedule to begin with. And then things got real, and then McCaffrey got hurt. Now you're playing better teams. Even though I wouldn't consider the Giants a great team, Giants just fucking muck-ducked them. But that's what we've seen from Darnold in the past, though. Like flashes of I can be a franchise quarterback, and then like a couple weeks in a row where it's just turnovers galore, and that's the streak we're on right now.
Yeah, I don't understand it. And we have our one of our writers, Mikey, who is a big Panthers fan. And I tell you what, he had a hell of a weekend. He told me he said some stuff to some people he shouldn't have said.
What does that mean? I want to know.
You didn't know? He said he called, I'm going to say I don't care. He said he called a 10-year-old kid fat and told a 60-year-old lady to kick the bucket. I was like, that's a full fucking weekend.
Oh, man. In New York, too, of all places, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
If you're going to go on vacation to a place where you don't live like that, live it up. I'm all about that. Speak your mind. Life's too short to keep your thoughts to yourself. That's why we have a podcast.
I wish we'd have seen him in one of those fight videos that they always show in the stands.
That's a thing every week now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time.
And they're not like, it's not like there's like an altercation and then it gets broken up by a security guard. It gets to the point where there's someone unconscious draped over a row of chairs every time.
I love it when like 60 people get involved, but nobody wants to hit, but they're kind of like,
everyone's just kind
back
of
and forth. Somebody runs in and runs out and runs in and runs out. And it's just like, but it's really just an empty area in the middle where people just keep circling.
Yeah, there was one where I thought a fan died because like he got hit so hard, and then he was like draped backwards over a chair, and his head was like as far back, like relaxed as you could imagine. And someone came behind him and kicked him like right in the forehead, making his head go back even farther. I thought his head was going to roll off.
Oh, that's a good one. Like,
it was terrible.
I would love to see one of those in real life.
Oh man, so would I. Just not. I wouldn't want too many bush lights in me though.
The only problem is like I don't go to football games.
How do you play?
I don't want to go to a football game because it's so much better to watch it in my house and watch all the games that like I don't have the inkling to go to an NFL football game.
Just think about how long it takes to leave a professional football game. That's what pisses me off.
Oh, it's awful. I have to drive 2.5 hours to get to Green Bay, or same way to Chicago would be the same distance for me in Madison. But like, and it's like, well, now I want to watch all these games, but I'm only watching this one. But I want to be watching every one of them. On the fucking quad box on Red Zone on my couch, warm and comfortable, and just living my best life and not having to worry about getting home and then having the Sunday scaries. Like you're already going to have it, but it's even worse when you're coming home from a football game.
Oh, you got to take Monday off if you're going to a game. You can't work Monday.
Yeah. I don't know.
You're right though. You miss the entire week because you get to the game early enough, so you're not even seeing like who's active, inactive for other games. You're obviously watching. Let's say it's a noon game. You're watching that game, so you're not really seeing anything but maybe a few scores. And then by the time you leave and you're out of there,
you get home.
The 3 o'clock games are pretty much over.
Yeah, by the time you get home, the games are over.
You have no idea what happened that entire day. It sucks.
No, it's the worst. I'd rather just like when people ask me if I want to a Pack game, I'm like, no, I'm good, man. I prefer to stay at my house.
That's the blessing here, DJ. This is one good thing about being a Dolphins fan. They play in our area 2 times every 8 years, so I can manage going to those games just because it's
4.
What?
Yeah, or once every 4 years. Because
so right now the Dolphins match with the Vikings and Packers. The Vikings and Packers are like on the same like home and away thing. So if they play Green Bay. In Green Bay, they also that year play in Minnesota. So I go to 2 games in 1 year, but it only happens every 8 years. One a decade, man. 2 a decade, I should say.
I'm just still not. I prefer not to go. But yeah.
When I went to the 2 games a couple of years ago, I felt like I was a damn road game season ticket holder. I felt like I was going to a game every week.
This sounds like my actual nightmare. Like I have zero interest in going to football games.
It was. I mean, they're fun, but at the same time,
I'd rather go to the Friday night high school football game than the Packers on a Sunday.
Yeah, the girls, right?
No. Yeah, no.
Do you have anything else you'd like to add to the circus, DJ?
No, man. I'm tired. I didn't really bring the heat tonight, but
it's all right. It's what happens when you don't drink a beer to start the podcast.
Shit happens.
Check us out on Twitter at LoadedBox. Check out the website, loadedboxpodcast.com. Everything you need is there. We'll be back next week. I think it's going to be an early one. Week 9. We're available everywhere. Subscribe, rate, review. DJ, send us out.
Bye.